Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Headspace podcast. Fucking up the intro.
Good
We
job,
are at
Holden.
episode 23. My name is HSR.
My name's Chris Chrome.
And you got the Dr. Daemon right here, guys. And it is a special episode of the Headspace today, guys.
Yeah. So we're not actually talking about anything but this one fucking album because it's probably going to take a while to talk about it properly.
Yeah, and what these guys are doing today is they're getting into my headspace and trying to educate the rumbles that are happening in my brain juices right now and educate me on what is Kendrick Lamar.
Okay, but hold on. We don't want to steal Chris's thunder, right? And before we even get to that, you guys forgot about some serious shit right here. Let's talk about SodaStream.
Wait,
What's
where's
up?
Damon's even like
me.
hiding it. Okay, so I got some diet lemon lime because I wanted to know how that would work out. So
I got some, what was it? Old-fashioned lemonade.
Well, I'm still on that cola.
it's got that strange diet taste I've grown accustomed to in the lemon lime sodas.
Great.
SodaStream,
Fantastic.
But
please
less
sponsor
sugar.
us.
Yeah, no, for real. We like you and we want you. I'm Jewish if it counts. You're an Israeli company. Show some love.
All right.
Careful, there's a lot of controversy about all of that
All
going
I'm saying,
on.
SodaStream's an Israeli company. By sponsoring SodaStream, we are up in the fucking controversy.
What's
I digress.
up?
So, Chris, okay, before we even get to that, if you care about specific songs and you want to see a bit of the breakdown, you don't care about our discussions, hit the show more. You'll see all of the songs. You can click on the number next to it and jump to a specific part of the podcast. And then all of our contact information below if you want to yell at us in the middle, give some tweeting
A
action.
little bit of shout outs and comments.
So there's one thing you gotta know, guys. I am an uncultured rap reviewist. I
Perfect.
don't know necessarily a lot about rap. When I listen to music, I understand more of the musical versus the lyrical.
Fair.
So I gave Kendrick a chance. I looked at a couple of his things. Like he was born in '87, so he's 2 years older than me. In June 17, so
He is
coming
my
up.
age, actually.
He's gonna be
like
30 on June.
5 months older than me. Not even 3 or 4 months older than me.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
from Compton, straight out of Compton, California, known as an American hip-hop artist and songwriter, so he writes his own songs.
Yeah, just so that you know, he was songwriting for Dr. Dre's label long before he really came into prominence.
Really?
No,
Yeah,
Interesting.
he was part of Aftermath.
Whoa.
Aftermath?
Yeah, that was Dr. Dre's label. He
Okay.
was signed to Aftermath as a songwriter before another kind of artist.
That's pretty
Okay.
cool.
So here's what I dug up about the guy. So he's been blessed, let's say, on the 10th of November, 95, when they were shooting Love,
It's
California
California
Love. It was, who was it? Dr. Dre
Dr.
and
Dre
Tupac?
and Tupac.
Yeah, so it was happening
You
in...
have to forgive her. She's trying so hard right
I'm
here.
trying so hard. I learned things. I've written things
She
down.
did. This is effort, okay? Be nice to her, internet.
But he was known under the name M.A.A.d at
Yeah.
the time. He released his first mixtape in... I wrote it down.
This is good, because seriously, I would have skipped all this shit and been like, go listen to the other review.
Really?
Yeah, no, Bonnie came and more or less said a lot of the same stuff you're saying now when she
Right.
did the same thing you're doing by reading the stuff and doing the background research. So it's great because it's good context to have to talk about Kendrick Lamar. This isn't an insult. It's just for us. It's like, this sounds familiar.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's good for the internet. It's okay.
So in 2005, he released his first 26-track mixtape, which was under the first name M.A.A.d. You have to know, this guy grew up on the welfare. It wasn't an easy upbringing. And we'll see throughout throughout his songs,
You'll
the
get a
relationship.
glimpse of
There's
that.
he goes deep into it. That is something that I commended at that point.
From what I understand, Section 80, the first real album, really delves into that more, and then followed up with Good Kid, M.A.A.d City, which really goes into life in Compton.
Yeah.
And is a crazy story.
As we are well aware now.
Yes, it's definitely worth checking out, Damon. You gotta listen to it. Even if it's not for reviewing, it's just so fucking great.
No, I'll take a look at a couple of it. Honestly, he spiked my interest because I did to be honest, when I looked at the album, I was just like, oh, who is this fuck? What is this look?
So
I'm just gonna say and then I said, no, Damon, don't judge a book by its cover. And then I looked at other pictures, and if you take a look at this picture,
hold on. We didn't even introduce the album that we're reviewing yet, David.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm just talking about my
Okay.
first impression. I
Alright,
didn't
alright.
say anything about
Okay,
it. But
just
yeah, so like
My thunder.
back to these pictures, like
Yeah.
he looks like a cool dude, right? He's just chill, a kid, like he seems fun. I looked at interviews
I
about
looked at
him,
those
like and stuff like
pictures
that.
beforehand. He looks as grand as I think he is. He
He-
looks almost regal in these pictures.
He looks
Aw,
good.
Look
Like
at your man crush.
No, you didn't see the pictures. that
I
she
did
sent
see
me.
the pictures.
Well, then it was regal fucking looking. Kendrick is king, okay?
But anyways, just to say, like I've looked at interviews that he's done. Like he's interviewed NWA. He's been interviewed by I can't remember
I just watched
GQ.
I just watched him and Rick Ruben have this crazy fucking discussion that
Yes.
came out recently. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
Yeah.
one with fucking GQ, CQ.
Oh, is that what it
yeah,
is?
yeah, that's the one that I
Okay.
was looking at. Like,
I-
yeah,
that was-
there's
that
an
was-
airplane passing in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
fucking crazy just to hear these two geniuses talk about
Yo,
this shit.
and it's not like he's not just like, yo, you know what it is, like, you know. No, he's
No,
actually
he's
an
down to
intellectual
earth and-
person,
yeah.
and he's down to earth, and he's actually saying words that mean thing in a sentence that's actually written not by, other people. And he talks
It's
about how
Pretty deep shit.
he lives like his songs, like he thinks about a concept. He doesn't think about 12 concepts like he was saying. He stated that he thinks about one concept and builds up to it months in advance before
Yep.
he goes into the studio, so he can live in that state of mind. He also explains that, at the beginning, he used to write the lyrics for the audience, but now he's writing more for himself, more deep in thought. So that he said himself, like, so that what I'm writing, like it or dislike it, you still know it's coming from, Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like, all right, so I'm like, okay, so I read a little bit more. Just another thing, first name, last name, Kendrick Lamar. And there is the last name. Sorry, Duckworth.
Yeah.
I fucked that
Which-
up.
yeah. So yeah, Chris, tell us what album we're doing today.
Well, this week on Headspace, we decided to go with, as you all know from the headline, and we've been talking about it.
let's be real. If you're watching this in the next first, well, you just know about this album at this point.
Anyway, this week we decided to go with Kendrick Lamar's brand new album, Damn.
Period.
Period.
I just wanted to jump in there. Honestly,
Clearly.
I don't know if it's worth saying that I know who Kendrick Lamar is because Chris and I just reviewed Good Kid, M.A.A.d City. We're gonna link to that in the description, and we're also gonna link to that fucking dope ass Rick Rubin fucking
Yes.
Kendrick interview because
Yes.
it's crazy to get into his mind space, to get into his headspace, shall I say?
It was under the GQ channel.
Yeah, no,
of YouTube.
I actually subscribed to GQ recently. They produce some fucking dope content.
Mm-hmm.
This was exciting, man. I've been waiting for this since he dropped the Heart Part 4, which was kind of a fairly aggressive song. We're not going to review or cover it because it wasn't on the album. It wasn't meant for the album. It was just kind of a teaser, and at the end of it, he's like, hey, y'all gonna wait for shit on April 7th, and then on April 7th, they released the fucking date for this. I'm telling you, we was waiting. I was sitting there every day being, is the album confirmed yet? Is it confirmed yet? Is it confirmed yet? Because we had just done Good Kid, M.A.A.d City,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so my hype for this is fucking high because conceptually the dude writes albums like you were saying, like nobody else's business, especially in a day and age where singles like what this kid likes fucking dominate everything. So like Migos is not writing albums that sound like what a
Migos
Kendrick
actually,
Lamar
you know
can
what?
do.
You know what?
They signed for
Migos-
another with what's his name?
Migos is, and I have to admit, with Hold It at the moment, I was checking out the 100 billboards of all these songs, and Migos' top song is hit like 24. So I'm like, okay, they're not.
Look, Bad and Bougie was a weird one-off, fucking wonderful, strange experience.
Dude, Bad
for a
and
lot of
Bougie
people.
only got fucking big
was
because
Open
of the
Gundam
raindrop
style
drop top.
fucking-
It's
Exactly.
basically
It was Open
It was
Gundam
nothing-
style
Yeah.
But what
popularity.
Kendrick Lamar did, it's like, honestly, I have to confess, like something that I slept on Kendrick for a long time. In fact, I was super resistant
Yeah.
because he just seems so fucking popular. That's something I feel like Daemon had a
Yeah.
problem with. He was everywhere when he came out back in the day.
It's sort
and
of
it
why
made
he
me,
rubbed
like-
off the wrong way for me.
Exactly,
Like,
and
it's just
it did until I finally caved and accepted it and decided to start doing it. And anyway, now
I have to do the Kendrick
but
Lamar.
like now I'm hooked. I think that this dude is genuinely like the Picasso of hip hop. Not in the way that like Jay-Z, not in like the way Jay-Z tries to spin it, but like this dude has this artistic vision about album making and song making that I personally aspire to write like he does. I've always tried to be super conceptual, and like my own songs have always taken me
Right.
months to even start writing the first line. And I feel like that's something that I've always appreciated in this dude. Like I said on the last one, there's not a wasted bar, ever. Every line has a purpose, every fucking everything. Anyway, so let's talk about the title of the album. No, Damon likes to start with the cover art. So why don't we discuss the cover art a bit?
I just want to say, like, at first glance, before we got into the details of it, I just, like, I looked at his face and it was not at all what I saw on the pictures. And I was just like, it feels like I'm just going to be taken around the corner. He's going to try and sell me pineapples. Like, it's just, it just no. Okay, it just scared the shit out of me. And just, damn, it just, like, made me think he was flirting. It's just, damn.
So he did
but in a way where he was constipated at the same time. So it's just like, damn.
I just want to say I have two sides to this. I have what I saw before I listened to the album, which we'll talk about now, and then there's the shit I think after having heard the album, right?
Because that's very important.
We're actually gonna come back to the cover and the fucking title at the end of this review for the first time. That's how fucking deep Kendrick goes. But I honestly looked at it like, man, the word "damn" in such an awful font with such awful colors written over in such like it's literally what I do in Microsoft Paint when I make the thumbnails for the fucking podcast here.
Doesn't it remind you to what the old albums used to look like
yes,
in the day?
yes.
Like,
And it's just so fucking obtuse, and it's just damn, right?
I love that you used that word.
And then it's Kendrick kind of looking off with that look in his eye, looking like, don't fuck with me. And just, I have to say, there are no brands, there's no advertising, and everything Damon loved about Joey Badass turned out to be true about Kendrick Lamar in that regard here. And I had to say, at that point when I was looking at this cover, I was thinking of all the stuff Damon admired in Joey Badass, and I was wondering if, like, Joey Badass at 21 will turn into a Kendrick Lamar at 29. That was the line of reasoning I ran through. Like, I wonder if, like, a young Kendrick was kind of more like him. Anyway, stuff to look at after the podcast musings and stuff. Chris, how did you feel about all this?
Well, when it dropped, I was so excited, and then I saw the album cover and I saw the title, and I was like, wow, Kendrick's really had enough of people's shit. Like, it was just so straight out there, and he's like, damn, and he looks tired, he looks fed up, he kind of looks a little creepy a little bit, like Damon said, he's gonna take you around the corner. I don't think he's gonna be giving you pineapples, but you might come back, you know, a little broken nose or something. He looks a little bit pissed off. But it's very powerful, very strong, actually. I don't really know what Holden's talking about with the whole painting and the colors. I think the word actually is pretty cool the way he did it. But other than that, you're right. No brands. It's just straight up Kendrick. It's straight up him. There's, like, he's just... The way he did it, for me, it's like he wanted you to look at him and forget everything else. And I was like, yep, I'm staring at you. Got my eyes.
Can you stop looking at me, please? It's enough
Thank
staring.
you.
All right. I think it's a good time to really start to jump into this album because there's 14 songs, and I wrote more notes on this album review than any other one I've done yet. So
we're gonna be hearing a lot of Holden's
So-
inside.
well, because it's
his
Kendrick,
headspace
right?
is gonna be
Just to be
dripping.
fair, we did decide not to have any news topic for this week since we're
that
just
reason.
gonna like.
Yeah, we
Give
said that
that.
already on this podcast.
Did we?
We did.
I apologize.
And it's just that I was looking for the story in this album, and I spent a lot of time looking for
Fair.
that story, and I think
Fair.
I've pieced together an interesting concept or my theory of what this album's really about. So I've tied shit together between songs. That's why I wrote a lot, because there was a lot to write about. Anyway, so Chris, Damon, somebody want to drop a pun on the first song name?
Well, I just
Well-
mean there's a lot of blood spilled in it.
Yeah, a lot of blood.
Pacing up and down the sidewalk. She seemed to be a bit frustrated. As if she had...
So that is the intro to this album, and it starts off with some like humming, and it presents the idea of wickedness versus weakness, and
It's a really fucked up concept, actually. I find it's, to me, in a way, it was like when people feel weak, they turn wicked for defense, and like certain people. And then I also believe that people who are just pure wicked, even born like that, or just like overcome this fucking, I don't know. Anyway, they have no sense of weakness, so they're just pure, and it's just, I don't know, man. It was deep as fuck.
Well, like, basically it starts off like that, and then Kendrick busts out some spoken word kind of feel as
Right.
he presents this context of he's walking down the street and he sees this blind old woman struggling to find some shit on the ground, and he goes over to help her, and then she shoots him
Hey.
because, you're going to take his life because he let his guard down to go help her. And then all of a sudden it's Fox News misquoting Kendrick Lamar's lyrics to paint him in such a negative way. Like, on his album about, like, fighting police brutality in a proactive, smart way, they quoted him as though he was perpetuating street violence, and it was, like, kind of an interesting way to start this. Like, he put himself out there, and then the media turned on him, right?
What?
Specifically Fox News in this regard.
I mean, there has
What,
been
for Humble or?
No, this is from the song All Right from To Pimp a Butterfly, but they were talking about, so the little news piece that comes at the end of this is quoting that, and he's quoting the lyrics, and All Right's a pretty fucking great song that has nothing to do with how Fox News spun the piece. In fact, they were missing a word that changed the context of the lyrics, and yeah, no, so it even just starts to set off the tone, right? So life versus death, right? You have a live Kendrick, and then all of a sudden he's dead, and some misrepresentation, some mistrust, and it's a tone setter.
for a little bit, you know how we're like a lot. So for a little bit, you know how there's this whole like Black Lives Matter movement, and there's been a lot of racism and shit happening in the media and stuff. And I kind of took that away. I kind of took that from the intro song because
Yes.
with the Fox News, we've been known, there's been rumors and tells that Fox News has fucked up and, made false accusations and shit.
Well, not even that. Just the information
It's
that
a-
they've
it's-
given has been false or just like rushed or
The
just like.
short,
Right.
the short version of Fox
Invented.
News is that 67% of the people who watch Fox News love Trump, so they kind of have to report in a way that gets those people to be happy, or they lose a lot
Right.
of money. So they're not the most honest people. Either way, so they spin shit often against any of the liberal groups, such as
Right.
Black Lives Matter and All Right, and a lot of To Pimp a Butterfly kind of helped spark the modern Black Lives Matter movement as it is today. So it was just twisting such a good thing that he tried to create into such a darkness. And
But it's like, in a way, it was interesting because Kendrick, as a black person, he walked up to this lady, and I don't even care regardless of what the color
I
is
don't
of the
think,
lady.
yeah.
But I feel like she got scared over his race and his color, right? So I feel like with the
I never actually
Fox
considered
News,
that, but it actually makes sense.
with the
what you're
Fox
saying.
News of the with the clip at the end, I was kind of like, wow. So again, I'm not trying to be racial or anything, but nice, good kid, Black Kendrick walks up to lady and he gets killed. It's kind of like she stereotyped him as maybe trying to rob her or something, or trying to take whatever she's got on the floor or some shit. And then you got the Fox News, and I was just like, wow, this is how media spins shit. People just try to.
You take a look at what
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
It does make a lot of sense, but I didn't see fear. I saw pride in that. I saw pride in the
Whoa.
sense of like, no, I'd rather like fucking twist this around in the fact that like I'm gonna build this, like, you lost your life, that's it. Because I'm gonna
Right.
twist this in a way saying like, you attacked me, so I shot you.
And then-
But that's not what happened. So it's rather than be helped by a black man, I'd rather spin it in another way. And it made me
And
think
then-
a lot about what Philip DeFranco posted on exactly that. The policeman that like the guy ran away. The policeman shot him running away in his back 7 times.
Right,
And then they
right.
said like basically, oh, he grabbed my taser, blah blah blah. Another guy was there. He ran back to go get the taser and then dropped it next to the kid and
Right.
then like fucking handcuffed the kid and like
Fucked up shit.
it's just
also-
lots of
I
lies
think
and just like
there's another layer to this that's also whatever, because he specifically draws on the imagery of a blind lady. Because then
Oh.
if she's
She
blind,
doesn't see it.
She doesn't
Oh,
see
shit,
the color of
yeah,
the
it's
skin. So
true.
what you were
Right.
saying would make sense, I guess,
Right.
if she's blind.
Right.
But since she's blind, she can't
But
see
see,
who it
that
is.
that
And
actually that's a
so-
fucking
no,
crazy point,
but-
because she's
but-
blind. The
but what
media
that-
can even play it worse.
No, it has nothing to do with that. I don't think that's what he's trying to say with this.
Right.
So I think what he's actually trying to say with this is, in this current political climate of the world, you go out to help this blind old lady who's looking for help, and even this lady's willing to shoot you because you have to look at the wicked versus weakness line that was kind of hummed in the beginning. It's not just this piece in the middle. It's tied into that first piece where he's presenting this weak and wicked. So this blind old lady represents something like, you know, you wouldn't expect to get hurt from this person.
Right.
And in the last place you look to find it, right, she caps you. That's where you're getting shot from, the most unexpected place. And in which case, then parallels, he didn't expect the media to turn on him like they did. And then to me, that's the parallel I drew between the story and the media.
I just want to make a little tangent. Did you? I don't remember. Did you end up reading any of the analytics on Genius?
I didn't want to. I saw them at first, and I thought that the reality of this is I didn't agree with some of the things I was reading right away.
Me too.
Right.
So I stopped and I said, look, I read maybe some of the top down, like which Fox News story or which song it was, and
There
like
was
that kind
one
of
that was
information.
annotated
Right.
by Kendrick that I did read.
I didn't
but
even-
But
when
I
they're
was-
in green, it's the
I wanted
the
to see
artist.
if I could figure this album out based off of what Kendrick wrote, rather than have other people tell me what it was.
Well,
No, yeah,
what was
for
really
sure.
cool though, and I just wanted to make a point of, was that I did end up reading one of the annotations for the first song, Blood, and there was a kind of like a comparison to the justice system. Lady Justice is blind and she makes swift decisions, and the way that I kind of see it, and I was like, wait a
Okay.
minute, the blind lady
that makes-
swiftly took Kendrick's life.
So that makes a lot more sense than your first theory.
Right, and to be real, I
Anyway.
was like, that is actually.
I like to say I gave this 4 on 5 because
Really?
it's not perfect. I could not listen to this every day. It's just like, this is a song I would put on when I was gonna give Damn a full listen to, and I would never listen to it if it was not a full Damn listen through. Alright?
That's actually really interesting.
Cause like I don't know, intro songs never. It's not the best intro I've ever heard. It's just
Right.
really cool. It sets a tone for the album. It's a 4 on 5. It's not the greatest. It's really well done.
Okay.
No, I agree. I enjoyed the Western like approach. Like, it was really Kill Bill. I like Kill Bill. It was really like Quentin Tarantino style like outro. I really enjoyed it. It put me in a mood, especially the little story. It was pretty cool to walk through. I could listen to it once in a while, but mostly I'll skip it because it's pretty dark and gruesome. It's just, it puts you in a sewer type of mood. It puts you like
and
just
the
like
Fox News clip is not something I'd
It's-
really want to listen
Exactly.
to outside of the
That is
context
so
of the album.
funny.
I gave it a 4 as well. Like,
That
it
is
was
so funny.
it was
How is it
missing a little
funny?
bit.
Because I gave it a 5 on 5,
That's
and
not funny.
I feel like I can.
There's
So
no humor in that.
no, it's just funny because I'm usually like I have trouble justifying why I give certain grades, and right now I feel so like actually happy because I feel like I could justify this one.
Okay, so
I would listen
justify
to
it.
this. I would listen to this more than once, maybe not as like a song, but
Why is it a 5?
because it makes you realize what life is and how valuable it is in a sense. At a certain point,
That's a reason.
at a certain
Holy
point,
shit! Is Chris Chrome giving reasons now? Is this the future of
Shut up and
Headspace
listen. Maybe
podcast?
you'll find out. I was I was actually walking here today and I was listening to it, and for a moment, nothing around me mattered. Nobody around me mattered. It was literally just, holy fuck, this is literally life. This
Talking
is
about
this
Blood,
is
the 2-minute intro.
yeah, dude. No, I'm serious. Like I'm like
I can
like,
understand
think,
that.
the
think,
whole album.
I can
No,
understand
think-
that because
hold
I
on, hold
listened to
on.
it right now and I was like, "Fuck, this is a good
like
song."
it
Like, just-
doesn't. It doesn't. It's not supposed
not
to be
saying
a
it's
song,
a
and it's
bad
not supposed to
song.
be.
I'm
Look,
saying it's not perfect.
Yeah, but he's saying
Look,
it's
hold
perfect.
on. Give me a minute, okay? So you listen to this song, you get into this zen moment of nobody's around you, nothing matters. It's just you and this song, and you're kind of staring out into this like mist of glaziness in the sky, and you're just like, what the fuck? This is life. This is what it is. Like I
But
could
what
be
is
gone.
the this?
Like this is what you make it. This is
No,
the decision.
You have to define what this is. You're being very vague right now. with
Life
your-
can be taken at any moment, as
Okay.
Kendrick made it
So
seem.
that is a fair thing.
And realizing that at any moment changes your aspect on how you do things. And literally, if I was having a really fucking shit day at work, I would play this song, and I could tell you instantly, my entire view on my day would be like, dude, you could be dead. Like, just forget everything. You could be
Right.
dead.
So it's
And
bleak.
like instantly, it just
Okay.
makes you want to be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna be a little bit more positive. And then
I don't.
to be real, to be really real, it's part of our DNA to start on the next hype.
I got realness, I just kill shit cause it's in my DNA. I got millions
about talking black, right? Like how what black means and what like obviously what's within like.
I don't think it's about. Okay, so yes, so the sense that when he's saying my DNA, he's talking about his black skin and the perceptions of people. So I look at it like with Kendrick, you got to imagine that whatever happened just before this song started is related to whatever happened now, right? So this Fox News story wasn't just random. It was specific to lead into this now because of his blackness. They construed the story, right? And so his DMA is programmed to sell a whole bunch of ideas. Guys, I wrote down a lot of notes, and I'm going to read off of this more than I normally would. So his DNA is programmed to sell a lot of ideas. And so in the first verse, he kind of walks you through a lot of the accomplishments and struggles from the perspective of the hood. It's almost like the entirety of Good Kid, M.A.A.d City in like a verse.
Right.
To open up this.
You have to listen to the album.
It really goes into detail about the life that he lived in Compton and the fear he had and what it was like to be a teenager in that life. So in the same way that the first verse of this presents this, my DNA creates this environment, right? And then it fucking flips in the second chorus and it gets that kind of aggressive tone, right?
Yeah.
And it clips back in with the news, the same news clip that it was just referenced in the skit before, so that we know now that we're talking about the perception of black people and how they're seen. And then he unloads an attack on how, like, not listening to the media and how he's supposed to live his life because they don't understand his DNA and where he comes from has allowed him to achieve a whole bunch more. And basically, it's embedded into his DNA, and as a result, something that like people like Fox News just can't understand. And
okay, so you're going on a way where Fox is just like judging.
But not just Fox, it's Fox, white people, this type of people, not necessarily white, right? Because I feel like race is taken a little bit out of this album compared to previous works. And it's more that group of people like Fox News who would just dismiss an entire movement of people, the kind of people who say all lives matter,
well,
the kind of ignorance.
No longer just like the news itself, like social media on a certain level.
Absolutely.
Like people that tracks onto fake news like a fucking leeches on a freaking like bowl. Like it's not even the like it's going so much further than just the media. It's going like again, Philly D did cover another story about how like news scam and how fake news has become like, you know, like very, it's gotten to four levels.
I like
it's gotten to
where you were going with it's transcended the news, right? Now it's everybody believing certain things.
Anything that's flashed
that
in,
his
like
DNA contributes to this, and it's almost like it's in their DNA to believe this type of thing.
No, and everything's gonna fuel it, like clickbaits and freaking everything.
I don't know that that's so much exactly clickbait where he's going. He's going into more. This is the perception people have of us because they don't have our DNA and they can't understand it.
Which is gonna be easier for people to believe A or Z from whichever post they're gonna see.
I think that it's a matter of, at this point, like I said, he took race out of it, which I thought was kind of interesting. Granted, in this song, he doesn't say black. He says DNA. He's changed kind of the description, but we're also getting the beginning of the story of this album, right? So we see that there's a duplicity in the intro that Chris thinks is absolutely perfect. And then in this next song, we're starting to get more into his state of mind, right? You can tell that he doesn't really feel comfortable with the way things are. There's a lot of anxiety in his delivery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I agree to that. Like, that's a little bit on how I've felt. Like,
I felt there was cinematic in the beat, man. Like,
it was
I could
a lot
feel
of it.
Like, I could close my eyes in the way Chris was describing earlier. And a song like this would make me go, my life is privileged, and I need to recognize that shit and be more aware of my existence.
You know what? I did get that same feeling with this song. But go on, I will explain.
No, I want you to educate me on
well,
your opinion,
actually,
please. Like,
so for this song, I understand where you guys are coming from now that you guys have explained it and had a discussion about it. I get that part. I did catch on somewhat to that part, but I took it in a different way. A lot of directly for the loyalty part in his DNA. Forget race, forget everything. I was more thinking of like the people around you. Like I've got loyalty in my DNA, and the only people with that type of loyalty can be around me.
Yeah.
I don't need to be with fake people. I don't need to be around people with lying people.
I genuinely think that's an apt way of describing it. And I do think that in this song, when he does say DNA here, he's got loyalty to black people because they share his DNA in the same way
that is totally inevitable.
So maybe,
that is like.
So maybe in this song, race is a bit described. I would just meant more in a general for the album.
Of course.
It's less polarized in the black versus
Of
white.
Do you
course.
think he was more describing the society?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh,
the society of
I
like,
think,
let's say Compton, let's say. Like,
like,
I think he was like just bringing it back to
I
home.
think it's
like,
bigger than Compton. I think it's a matter of this is like I think a lot of this is that. So we have to look at it. So he has Good Kid, Mad City, where he's kind of presented his reality. Then he has To Pimp a Butterfly, where he spoke for Black America and tried to raise up this charge. And now a lot's happened, and Trump's president.
is he a member of Black Lives Matter? Or is that
It's not really. I don't know that he's actually part of the organization.
Okay.
Like a lot of artists show up and are involved, but I
or
don't know
was he
that any-
involved? I don't know. He
It's
seems
kind
to be
of like-
associated with people that
From what
do.
I understand, Black Lives Matter is a group ran by queer black women. So I know that he couldn't be involved in the leadership and could show up. But anyway, I don't really want to go too much into that because I don't have
Maybe
enough
another time.
knowledge on the subject. I do know that this song was extremely well composed. It's almost like a club banger of such a
Yeah.
serious scope.
Yeah.
More of like, one of those like lounge clubs, like the ones that
Yeah.
you would find
I
in the
would
hood and
bump
just like
to
fucking
this.
Honestly, I
chill.
could see
I know,
myself
I
being
know,
like,
I know.
like, you
Just
know.
sitting down having a good time.
Yeah.
Just
And
like
it's,
bumping. Yeah.
I give this a perfect 5.
Straight.
I think it starts off the song side of it really strong. It's slower, deliberately slower. This is a great example where not being aggressive per se actually delivers a more powerful message than had he layered on the aggression and come at it with the double times and everything. He slowed
Right.
it down and he drilled it home in a really powerful way. Just a follow up of our Joey
No,
Badass
For
discussion.
sure.
No, it was like, okay, I'm gonna put it in a fair way, guys. Usually I give my first impression. So this first ever listen to whatever song, okay? I actually listened to this album while I was gaming this morning. I put it during my stream. And I also listened to it one more time before I reviewed it, just to get a little bit more familiar to it, because I tend to like some of the songs that I've dissed in the past. And really, really like them. Like, I changed my opinion. I listened to them more. This one was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed the message that he tried portraying. I guess I understood
You did
a
understand.
bit of it.
No, you
like
got
the
it.
surface
I think
of it.
everybody here got the point of the song.
Okay.
No, for sure.
And
Even Chris.
but there was still a little bit something missing. Like, I could skip this song easily. It's not a perfect 5,
okay.
but it is a 4. I gave it a 4. It was still a
And
good
you,
song.
Chris?
I gave it a perfect 5.
All right, anything more to add?
Yeah.
Keep the family close, get money for bitches. I double park the Austin in the red. My mama told me that I'ma work myself to death.
I got a whole lot of notes. Does somebody else want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. So I really like this song. I don't exactly know the deeper meaning to this. I kind of got confused. But I actually really like this song. I think everybody who listens to this song has gotten that feeling that he's trying to portray. This kind of like realizing feeling when you're kind of just done and you're tired. You're like, yeah, this is what's going on. Yeah, this is what I got to deal with. So very relatable, and I like that, as we all know. Although I had to give it a 4 on 5 only because, and it's my fault really, I couldn't understand. I
No.
didn't think that.
I don't think this is the clearest song in terms of finding an instant message. Like, look, I reviewed this after my 4th listen, and not even that. The first time I listened to this album, I read the lyrics. I let it sink in. I heard it on the bus going to my mom's house. It's a long bus ride. And then I listened to it again and again, and I will keep listening to it because I don't even think I fully understand the album yet. And I think I have a good handle, but dude, I think I'm gonna hear shit for the next 3 weeks and be like, "Fuck, I should have put that in the review."
Right,
So,
right.
but yeah, Damon, how did you feel?
I got confused, and honestly, it was because of the Genius. Usually, I skim a little bit on the
Stupid
Genius and then just go down, and then I was reading, and usually I stop. I just read the first sentence, and I get a little bit of a vibe of where everybody is, and then after that, I go down. But then it was just like,
debate on the title.
just like freaking like the Yah God of I don't know what.
Okay, so
person thing,
basically
and-
they're saying it's Yahweh, which is a Jewish name for God,
Oh.
and given the Israelite reference, it kind of ties it together. And I genuinely can see that comparison, but I don't know if that's the case because I don't take that I don't know.
There was absolutely no feel of that for me in that
I
song
don't agree.
at all. I
So,
didn't get any.
Let me explain my perspective before, because I think there is justification for the feeling. I think it is.
Dude, for me, the feeling was really not like that. It was just like really chill, down low track, just
Oh,
like.
it's definitely not chill. So, I think Chris is more on point. It's not chill is the right thing. Broken or fed up or at
Yes.
your wit's end. So chill
That's a
isn't
good
the
way
right
of
thing,
putting
right?
it. I agree.
You know
So,
what? You know what?
hold
Just
on,
hold on.
hold on,
It's kind of
hold
like
on. So now, first of all, did y'all catch Kung Fu Kenny?
yes.
Yeah.
That seems to be his current nickname for this album, and I think it's interesting because it shows he's in a fighter mood. He's ready to fight, and that's an interesting thing to start this whole song
Because
off
he
with,
sounds
right?
so broken.
Yeah, and so I feel like we learn he's really smart and he sees the world as it actually is because he writes out his theories and he sees stuff, right? And I get where he's coming from because this world has a lot of patterns that if you really study, you can find. And we know Kendrick is a very well-studied man and he's become successful and he's grinded hard in light of his things, right?
Anyways.
And in the previous song, he feels the pain, right? And he kind of identifies in the last song that he's a vessel of God to fight the fight. And this
Right.
is from DNA. Now with Kendrick, this shit all flows. So if something gets mentioned in this song, it could be 8 songs later that it's there. But Kendrick writes in that kind of a layered way. And so he presents this, right, in the second verse where he feels like he has this God presence in his life where he has God's message to some degree and he's fighting the media and he's fighting everything and he's broken and he's tired and really the whole chorus is what you're saying. He needs to just chill. He needs to just chill
Yeah.
versus just being a chilling song is I think the real crux of the difference, right? So in DNA he's presented with this broken, frayed world and in Yeah he's at his wit's end and he doesn't know how to handle it and everything just sounds like yeah noise to me. That's what I took from the title.
Right,
Now,
right.
It may also be a double entendre for Yahweh because he does make that Israelite comment. And we know Israelite just means any Christian, paraphrase based off of a speech later on the album. That's a whole conversation for not this time. I know a lot about theology. It actually makes sense that to say Israelite implies all people are the same under the eyes of God is what he's going for. And it's where I started to see the breaking away from Kendrick identifying as a black man and seeing the need to identify as people under God
It's
and finding like a pure focus. So I took all of that from Yah in terms of what it is. And I have to say the other noteworthy thing is we get introduced to Carl Duckworth on this song. And that's relevant for later on, but we need to know that Carl Duckworth is the Carl that will come at a later point. And slower, airy. I thought it was a 4 on 5. I don't know that I could really like bump this as the greatest shit ever, but its placement on the album is epic. It's a great part of the story, in my opinion, but as a song, it's a 4.
you know what? Go.
Oh, I was gonna say when he got angry at the end, like around 2:30 there, like when he just starting I can't remember what he did at the end, but there's something at the end that just like went off tone for me. It just declicked from like it became like you guys said broken. Like it just like I couldn't follow anymore. It's just like I couldn't do it anymore. And just like at that point, I would probably skip the song but listen to the whole thing. But then I went through and just like. It came back to the flow and it was just like okay I could maybe deal with this part a little bit. I gave it a 4. I enjoyed the like
his mixing on his voice is so crazy on this album. Like sometimes he'll change shit up within 2 bars.
Yeah.
It's a little much, but it tells the story in a really crazy way.
Well, as well, I gave it a 4 on 5. Like I said earlier, it's a real. I understand it a little bit more now after Holden explained it, but I still think I need to go back and re-listen
And
like,
keep in mind, I'm basing this all off of Holden's theories, off of an album that came out yesterday that I just
Right.
chain listened to.
Right.
But I do think it fits. I think that we're starting to see that this album is an introspective look at how he is as a person in this existence. And I think that this is really brought forth on the next song, Element.
I'm willing to die for this shit. I done cried for this shit. Might take a life for this shit. Put the Bible down and go out for a knife for this shit. DOT, my enemy, won't catch a vibe for this shit. Ayy.
That's for days on this one too, people. I'm telling you, I've
Damon,
never
you
studied
start.
so hard on
Damon.
I
an
really
album before.
enjoyed. I really like when it kept my attention is when he says like, "This isn't for the grams, it's for content." Like that right
Yes.
there.
That's important.
It was just like
Very
it's not for the
important.
Grammys. Fuck the Grammys. Like I'm doing this for Compton. Like
Yeah.
this is for me. This is for home. This is for my
Where
family.
it should be.
And it just like at that point I was like, I could sort of take this guy seriously
Yeah,
a lot more
I'm
now.
holding off. I wrote on. I know I have stuff to say on
The
that.
only thing is though, however, when he go into the verses, like right at the last third of his verses, he lost me. It's just like and then the thing came in and it's just like, okay.
It's got a lot of transitions on this album.
It
and
does.
The way he writes these songs, it's sometimes like 4 songs in one, and sometimes it's constant flow, and it's a bit of an experience. But I think that if you look at it in the context of an album, it's very different than if you look at it in the context of individual songs. Like, Good Kid, Mad City has fucking bangers all over it, but I don't know that I can listen to the album unless it's all in a row.
Right.
So it's part of like this experience he creates. Chris, what did you think?
Well, at a certain point, I understood that he was doing it for himself and for his hood and his whole city. But I also took away that there's a certain element that Kendrick has that he puts onto songs and that he puts onto the way he does things. And
Yes.
as he states it, he
That's
makes it
also
look
true.
sexy, right? But I don't really... First of all, I just want to state I have a problem with the word sexy. I hate it.
Okay.
I hate it.
I
And
understand where he's coming from. It
But
makes me
I
feel
think
creepy.
that the way you're describing it is part of why he used it.
All right, well, let me continue. So personally, for me, I hate it. My girlfriend says it all the time to me, and I don't know. I cringe. I don't feel sexy. I don't see it. I don't get it.
It's just a
And-
stingy word. It's like,
That's
It's
fair.
I don't get it. Usually, I'll admit it. I use it when I'm trying to flirt.
Right.
I don't
Right?
like
So you
singing
don't
it.
like the word sexy.
Right.
But what about
But
the
when
song?
he puts it in this, I kind of get it. I kind of feel like he's like, dude, without me, without my element, my flair, my magic, my voice, my touch, it's
did
not
not
sexy. It's
take
not that image that people like to have of what sexy is, and he keeps it
So-
real.
I don't know if I agree with your assessment of the chorus.
Yeah, tell us why.
Okay, explain.
All right, breaking it down.
Oh, here we go. We just fucked up.
Hold
So-
on. Let's
First and
come from-
foremost, this is the song that is the equivalent off the Joey Badass album of when he took shots at hip hop. That's all this is, right? It's
That's the song I didn't like.
Right.
Kendrick's taking shots at hip hop here. This is let's make no mistake.
Right. I got that.
So,
So we're on the same page.
Part of the story is he's at his fucking breaking point, right? He's had enough, as you can tell from the previous 2 songs. He can't handle shit.
I got that.
And then I'm trying to scroll through the notes. So in the first verse, he kind of explains the difference between him and the rest of the industry, using the example of what you were saying, how it's not for the Grammys like the rest of them, it's for Compton, but really driven home with, I would die for this and you would not. This is a bigger than me. It's about a concept that is not personal gain and whatnot, right?
Right.
And so he kind of brings back the idea of how he's a martyr for his people, which is a prevalent theme amongst his albums, and I respect that. So that's why Kendrick got there. So in the second verse, he's kind of calling out the entire industry on being fake, and he's like, look, I actually can go do what you're all saying, but when I look you in the eyes, I know you're fake. So he's going real hard on, as I wrote here in my notes, actually, a lot of the people Chris Chrome listens to, and it's true. He's calling out a lot of these people for the fake shit that they're trying to sell. And then in verse 3, it goes kind of more into the demand on him, like how people want shit from him, how people want to come by LA and, yo, K-Dot's the coolest, K-Dot's the this. And then he's kind of like, but no, these people end up being kind of jealous of him. And this jealousy kind of leads to hatred and shit.
It gets poisonous. It migrates into
Right.
an owing instead of a like.
I think he's kind of tying it in. He's like, I wrote To Pimp a Butterfly, the album for black people, black artist, as he puts it. And now everyone expects me to give them something. And I just want to quote Kendrick here, right? Because, did I not write? So yeah, last LP, I tried to lift the black artist, but there's a difference between black artists and whack artists. And I think it's fucking crazy. And this goes back to the hook now. So because of everything on the table for him and everything he's worked so hard to do, it's that he defines sexy because of his ethic, because of his work. And when he goes out there, he has to make it look sexy. And if we go back to what you were saying about how he conceptualizes albums and stuff, he makes it look sexy is just him saying, I make it look easy, or I make it look good because I have to, because of the world of fake shit around me. And it's just his breaking point. Like, I have to do this because I don't have a choice.
I don't want to do it anymore.
I don't fuck with my element. You don't have my element. You don't have this thing that I'm doing because it's so real. I really fucking like this song, and I give this a 5. I think as a song, it's next level dope. Stands alone. I could hear it when I'm out and dancing and shit. And as a concept, it's fucking strong. This is the best beat the fuck out of the mainstream rap songs I've heard in a very long time.
It was a good album, song. Sorry, it was a good song. I really, really enjoyed it. I got that feeling from that, and it got confirmed with the next song, but I'll talk about it a little later.
I like the next song.
But it was still missing something. Like, it's another 4 for me. Like, it's
okay.
just like, it's not a 5, but it's not a 3. Like, I really
No,
enjoyed it.
It's
I
a
could
good
bump
song.
this.
It's just not one of your faves. It's
Right.
not, I didn't feel like I did. I don't
Well,
know.
straight up, I gave it a 5 on 5. I think it's an amazing song. I think it's also a very empowering song for people who don't feel like they have anything as well. They feel like it kind of makes you feel like you got something special. And, you know, sometimes I feel like, hey, people don't got my
I feel
element.
like Kendrick has something special.
Kendrick has something
Okay,
special.
Kendrick is
so-
the special.
So let me put it to this. I actually do listen to this song and feel like I have something special. But
Right.
it's because I have a work ethic that's comparable to what Kendrick does. And I have a vision for what I want to build with my platform that's comparable to his. So in light of the scope of what I'm trying to do, caring for groups that are not mine and dealing with shit, I get it. But I don't actually think that a lot of this wasn't necessarily written for everyone.
Right.
I think it was written in a way everyone can appreciate, but not everyone's going to understand this album.
That's fair.
That's kind of how I felt at this point. And speaking of feelings, even though he said it like 4 times, none of that was the pun. Let's talk about feel.
Feel like it ain't no tomorrow, fuck the world is ended, I'm done pretending, and fuck you if you get offended. I feel like friends been overrated, I feel like the family been faking, I feel like the feelings are changing,
Holden, you got another pack of notes?
I got a lot less notes on this one,
So do you want to start
but I have
this?
a lot of things to say about it. For sure.
So,
So
how we do
basically,
this?
I started this off right, and instantly I plussed it. And there's a reason I plussed it, because actually, right before this album came out, I posted this long-ass Facebook going on about how I'm confused between the balance between logic and feelings. And a lot of people were trying to impart onto me that every decision I've made is really based on feelings, and that whether or not I embrace the feelings, they still exist, because I've been dealing with some shit in my life,
Right.
and it's been a little like, okay. And so when I heard this song and I heard the things Kendrick's feelings and how he attaches truths to everything he's feelings in a way that was so relatable to me, in the way that Chris Chrome relates to music, I got lost in this. And
Just keep saying my name.
Careful.
I do,
Water.
and it's like, I feel like this, right? In the last song, he brought up the idea of how nobody prayed for him, but in this song, it's a lot more driving it home.
Yeah,
So
I
he
noticed
feels
that.
like
I was like, oh.
he's King Kendrick. He's the savior. He stepped up there. And in my life, I've stepped up. I've built a lot of things. I'm trying so hard to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people just take from you, and nobody's praying for it. And one of the things I've expressed a lot off the camera to various people is like, I don't know who the fuck I'm supposed to turn to anymore. And I
Right.
get where he's coming from. Like, who does he go to? And nobody's praying for him. Nobody's looking out for him. He's left with all these feelings, which is the manifestation of the previous 3 songs of frustration.
There was one part that got me through, and it was like, ain't no tomorrow, fuck this world. It's ending. I'm done trying to predict the future. I don't care if you don't like it. So he was basically saying, like, I don't care about tomorrow anymore. I could just die, and it wouldn't change anything. Like, at this point, like, I have an advance, and nobody's going to miss me because everybody's just leeching off.
I also feel like
That's
it's a
like
little
the
different.
realness of it.
Hold
though.
on. I feel like it's a little different. It's more like if he could die today, he's already done so much that his legacy would live on forever. And that's how
Right.
he
He
feels.
is, however, he
that's-
doesn't have anybody to lean on. Nobody's going to be
Exactly.
there, right? So it's
And
just
in
going to
light
be
of
like,
that, he's going, look, I've done all of this. I've done enough for like 2 lifetimes, and yet nobody's there for me.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought it was fucking
I
dope.
mean-
It's a 5 for me because it's great music, great rapping. His rapping is fucking on point in a nice way on this song, and he's super cool.
I agree. The song is good, and like, guys, don't get me wrong. Most of these songs so far are plus. Feel is plus as well, but there was still something missing. It was a little bit draggy for me. Like, I have feelings through songs, and like, I have to feel the way that the lyrics are, you know,
We just can't
orchestrated
help
too.
but say feel on this one.
Yeah, I have to feel it. It
That's
needs
okay.
to feel. No, but seriously, like, I gave it a 4. It's missing the kick
I
for
can
Daemon.
understand this, and you?
So actually, I have a little bit to say about this. First of all, this is my song. I'm coining it. I'm taking it. Fuck
You're
that.
not.
No, it's Kendrick's track. But this is how I kind of actually think and feel on a daily. There's a lot of shit that I do for people and a lot of shit that I do for everyone. And it's just like at the end of the day, you catch yourself and I catch myself kind of just walking home and I'm like, I look left, I look right, I don't see anybody. There's like it's just kind of emptiness, and I think that everybody can relate to this in a way where they feel empty and they feel alone. But also on the flip side, first
I want
verse.
to cut you off. No, not everybody can relate to this. People who work really hard and try to build some things with their lives and try to live in a proper way can relate to this, because you can't group that into everybody.
Fair.
This album wasn't actually written. Maybe it's written in a way where everyone might think that the label fits
Fair.
them, but I think that's part of the point.
Fair. But on the flip side, I also took it in a little bit of a different way, where in the first verse, it's about him and how he feels and what he's feeling. Everybody is giving him and the attitude and stuff. And then the second verse, he's spitting how he feels about this and certain aspects and certain people and certain experiences that are going on. So I had to straight up give it a 5 on 5. It's exactly how I think and how I look at the world. And I'm just like,
Fair enough.
I don't have to speak.
Now, as you guys can tell, the distance of time between these fucking songs is crazy compared to previous podcasts we've done. So we're going to go on to Loyalty.
Secrets inside. All we ask is try. All we got is love. Loyalty.
Who's excited for Riri?
Oh,
That's
I'm
Rihanna for
excited.
the internet.
I was
Is it?
excited.
It's everybody. Everybody that's a female that I've met up until this moment knows what a Riri is. I only know because of them, so it's not to. So I just assume the entire.
I guess I'm not female.
I'm just saying it's Rihanna, man. This is some Queen Bee type power here. That's Beyonce.
Wait, it wasn't that's what I was gonna say. It wasn't Queen Bee,
It's
Beyonce.
power
I'm
of
trying
her.
to learn the medias, people.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
this song was fucking interesting.
I figured out it was about loyalty.
It was. And,
Good job. High five.
Yay.
So, okay, to me, this song is actually really simple. The first verse breaks down the concept of their accolades. So it's presenting I'm King Kendrick and she is Queen Rihanna. In their respective worlds, they are that big. And then the second verse is questioning the loyalty of everyone around them and who are they loyal to, their money, their relationships, their love. And, I mean,
Really?
Wait, hold on. I got that.
That is kind of
I understood this.
That's like, who are you loyal to? Is it your person? Is it your this? Are you being patronizing? Because like that's
No.
basically the whole song.
No. I'm
And,
actually
I'm
like,
curious to see what you got from
Because
it.
like
but
if you read the second verse, it's literally them going, "Are you loyal to?" and
right,
questioning
right.
a bunch of
No,
stuff.
I completely agree. Go on.
And,
no, but I want to hear your story.
and then the
after.
very last line of the song that I missed before the last chorus is, "We should all be loyal to God." And Kendrick cuts in with a slightly different mixing and a slightly different voice. And what does he say? That's what God for is the exact line. And he's saying that we're all loyal to a whole bunch of shit, but if we were all loyal to God, it would have real loyalty. And that loyalty is a fake concept in this world. And everyone's loyal to strange, fickle shits, and nobody's humble with their loyalty. And it was interesting to me because it fits the motif of the story, right? So we have Kendrick gets typecasted in the beginning. Kendrick does what he's supposed to. Kendrick gets attacked and hated on. Kendrick is now feeling on his own. He's struggling and he's questioning loyalty. And he, at the very end of the song with him and Rihanna, is struggling to stay humble. And they both seem to be using God to find humility because there's no loyalty and they are this big and they don't know how to cope with it. And I think it's starting to be a little bit of flip into how people think about his ego and shit. And now we're going to go in a different tone on this album.
There's one thing that I want to add on that, because you said like humble, and it made me think, because I did hear that as well. It made me think a lot that he was ping-ponging between songs. And like there's going to be a reason, like, because he said something earlier that actually made me realize what you just said. And just like there's a lot of going back and forth, like you were saying, No One's Praying For Me was said 2 songs before. The one that you're saying, Humble, right? They do talk about being humble, and they're singing it
It's
itself.
like the very end of the song, almost. I think the last 4 bars
Yeah,
are that.
I noticed it though as well, and it's like, okay, it's gonna be like one of the next tracks, and then it's really like intricate. It's really
It's
a
the way
good
he
circle.
places
It's
it,
like
man. And then he talks about Rihanna later on the album, if you think about it, and that even ties in. It's fucking crazy. Kendrick's everywhere. On that note, the rapping, he fucking did that Rihanna rapping shit, and like that kind of like barely in it. I was like, look, I get that that's how Rihanna raps, and I don't know why Kendrick did it. But Kendrick did it right next to her, and I didn't really appreciate it as much as it's supposed to be.
I didn't
mean,
appreciate it.
I
Sa.
get that. Like, it's,
Pinky's out.
the song is kind of like super pop, like they wrote this to be a single. Like, it kind of feels a little out of place musically and sonically on this album for me, and I give it a 4 on 5 for that.
It sort of sounded like the Newtown emo track. It sort of sounded like the new Twitter emo track, like everybody's gonna be. I'm sorry, I got.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's gonna go viral or some shit.
Yeah, and everybody's
enough.
gonna be like,
Fair
just
enough.
anyways.
Riri's on it.
Yeah.
It could be another Love the Way You Lie. It's okay.
Yeah, sort of thing,
It's
like
not
you
at
know.
all like
Anyways.
that, Chris.
No, but just like
But
the depression
actually-
behind it.
Ha-
Anyways, I gave it a 4. I liked it, but it still missed that upbeatness. It was just, I guess it was too dark and gruesome and religious for me. Like, it's just.
you know what? Bonnie had a lot of the problems with the religion when we reviewed Good Kid, Mad City as well, because it is. He's very Christian in his
Right.
approach, and
It's.
to be credit, he lives the life. Like, he doesn't smoke, he's monogamous, he does everything he's supposed to back all that up in his real world, and he's not preachy with it. He's often describing how he's using God as a vessel to handle shit.
It's sort of
Right.
because of that, like it's sort of because he's like strict and bound and saying like basically this is my belief, this is this. All
Right.
respect to that, but as a person myself, I have no objections whatsoever for any religion. I actually think it's pretty interesting, like when people come to me and explain to me their side of everything. I actually like hearing about it, but it makes it hard to relate to a song when the artist portrays as being that religious. To
But
me, it
I
just
don't- I
felt
don't
it
know
felt
that it
harsh to
was-
like link to.
But it was a matter of, I felt like religion in the way Alcoholics Anonymous uses
Okay.
religion. It's not religion in like the literal sense of Jesus died on the cross. It's a lot of God and humility, right?
Okay.
And if you look at it like that, when you're that big, what do you do to keep your ego in check? When you
Right.
have that, like, you know, that's how I took it. And being loyal to God, it's not necessarily religion. It's more knowing that there's something bigger than you at all times.
Right.
And that we're here for other people. And I guess it kind of, I don't know, Chris, what did you think of this?
So after hearing your guys' discussion about what you guys took from the song, I agree with everything. I just took it in a different way. The entire song is a relationship. So for me, I looked at Kendrick and I looked at Rihanna and I went, this is Kendrick in a relationship and this is Kendrick as the male in the relationship and this is Rihanna in the female in the relationship.
Sure. Yeah.
And I went at it as Kendrick is explaining how like the male complex and the male mentality on how we live our lives and how we do things and how we act and what we portray and stuff. And then Rihanna's doing the same thing. You know, she's got her bad bitch attitude. She's got her mentality. She's independent. She's going at it. She's going strong. Cool. Now, they're in this relationship together and they have these certain traits and stuff and they're trying to make it work together and make it happen and everything's lovey-dovey. Now, in the second verse, how you guys were talking about the money and the finances and the struggles and shit, I also related to that as in the finances between the relationship with each other. Maybe one makes more than the other. Maybe the other one's not paying or whatever it is like that. I got a lot of
I don't know,
connection
man. They
based
present
on...
themselves as equals in the first
No,
verse.
right. But I feel like there's a level of like... There's a level
They
of
kind
like...
of make it sound like, if anything, they're both part of this secret society, like in the chorus, right? And like they're part of this elite group of fucking people.
Right,
that
but
are
even with the
so
chorus, for
big.
me, like, even when I looked at the chorus, I was taking it more of as in loyalty to each other.
I mean,
As in, like, you could take it with the secret society. I mean, as a secret society, y'all gotta be loyal to each other inevitably.
It's a
but
context setter. I mean, I can see how it could be kind of in a relationship with each other, but I just think that...
I would say more as them being partners
Exactly.
to what
Or, like,
happened.
they're
Like
both
them being
part of the
partners
same
and
group.
explaining
Right.
like
So
how
like, they're
loyal.
both part of this group of people that know how to be loyal, and they understand what loyalty
And
is.
they're trying to
this is
analyze what the exterior people
Yeah,
have as
how
loyalty.
they understand it, because they have all of
priorities.
this because they are loyal people. I think it's... Yeah, I think it's like that. I mean, there's no way the second verse is they're in a relationship together.
no, not, but it's...
And there's no way there's gender roles associated with their lines of questionings either. They're pretty much the same the whole way
But
through.
when
Right,
did you
I'm
see
not,
that?
Equals.
I'm not trying to go on gender rules. I'm just trying to say, like, I don't know. For some reason, when I listened to the song and I listened to it multiple times, I just kind of kept seeing the same type of, like, situation. Like,
But
like
you said specifically that she's presenting the girl. I get to question what he said specifically.
No,
Yeah,
go
but let him
ahead, go ahead.
finish.
But it's important because he brought up you want to protect his reputation. He said that she's presenting this female bad bitch persona, and he's presenting
No. I'm not
saying I don't understand that how if multiple
I'm saying
times
like
you listen to it,
independent
you
and
got to
strong,
that.
and she's not like fucking around with people, and like she does her own thing, and she's like legit.
So if
I'm
anything,
saying
it like defies conventional gender stereotypes and saying that they're kind of equal, part of the same group. No?
They are equal, but I'm saying that the problems around them that they're dealing with is what's affecting them. I'm saying that like regardless, I didn't mean to say like one has more money than the other like that. It's just finances in a relationship are an issue. Loyalty's an issue. Communication's an issue. People around you in your relationship are an issue.
Just have too much money presented in that first verse for either of those people to have
absolutely.
money problems.
I don't know. I felt like I connected to this song in a way that I was like, wow, this is literally just a really strong relationship that has a lot of issues in it that they're trying to work to, and then they come together.
It's about relationships, but their relationships with the rest of the world and how nobody is loyal to them.
Right.
And,
That's more of
well,
what
to
I
be
saw,
fair, I do kind of see a lot of people breaking up in a bunch of shit all over Facebook and garbage.
It's not
so,
that
like,
kind of relationship, Chris.
I know it's not that, but it's
I don't
easy
think
for
this has anything to do with romantic relationships. I think it has because they drop literally the idea of a relationship into one line when it's like, are you loyal to who you love or your family?
The fact that I can get something out of it is
that doesn't necessarily mean that you went and got the right thing out of it. No offense, but I don't think that this song has anything to do with Rihanna and Kendrick Lamar being in a relationship together discussing their problems. So based on you took that from it multiple times, I'm going to have to disagree with your assessment and be like, it's a lot more on par with they are so high in life that nobody has real loyalty to them because nobody understands loyalty.
Everybody's after the money. Everybody's after something. There are always vultures around.
Speaking of how they end this song with a high sense of humility, it ends up with some pride.
Be perfect world. I don't trust people enough beyond their surface world. I don't love people enough to put my faith in man. I put my faith in these lyrics. So
I wrote notes on this one because, again, it kind of fits into the song more. I just thought it was interesting how it starts with love's gonna get you killed, but pride's gonna be the death of you and you and you and me, and it's interesting, right?
Right.
And
it goes in such a deeper meaning. It's not necessarily saying like, oh, blah blah blah, lyric. It's like, no, think about it 2 seconds. Like, if you have too much pride, what's going to be left of you? What's your memory going to be like? It's just...
So I thought a bunch about this because there's a few lines in here, right? So in the first verse, he's talking a lot about the apathy and the distractions and the temptations and how he doesn't trust people, and he uses kind of his music to make amends for his flaws as being a person. And one of the lines that really struck with me is, I can't fake humble because your ass is insecure. And I get the idea that a lot of people are intimidated by Kendrick Lamar, and he faces a lot of folk who want him to kind of, be humble, because he's not. He doesn't have to be humble. To quote Kid Rock, it ain't bragging, motherfucker, if you back it up. And, this dude is everything in terms of music.
Wait, I don't get it. Is he being required to be humble?
Yeah, people expect him to be humble is kind of what I felt from that. But it's almost like to a sense of a degree of they don't understand his pride, right? And so
is there a difference between being humble and being modest?
No, but there's a difference between pride and pride. So there's pride of your accomplishments, like you've been
being
podcasting.
Happy, being good. Like,
it's not happy. It's about proud. It's like you've accomplished great things, and as a result of that, you can take pride in what you've done. Versus the other side of pride, which is a lot more directly linked to arrogance. And one is confidence, one is arrogance, but both are stemmed from pride, right? And what I took from it is a lot of people misinterpret his arrogance for confidence, assume it's just this bad pride, and then he's like, "Look, I can't."
But is he an arrogant character?
Nah,
because I didn't get that at all in anything that.
But imagine you're actually sitting down next to him, and he's trying to talk to you about shit. Like in his presence, I guess if you're another rapper, especially if you're another rapper, you are less good than Kendrick Lamar, and you know it.
Don't try and act the fool and be like,
how is he supposed to be like, I am not a better rapper than you, and fake it and pretend like you're better on that song or whatever? I feel like this is a little bit about hip hop, a little bit about life. And then Then there was the maybe I wasn't there line from like the chorus, which really brings me to like this one hit home, right? So like it's like my stepfather just went to jail, and I found out about it at the exact last minute. It's nothing fucking serious. It's some pathetic shit that we don't need to go into. But what struck me is I was so busy chasing my life and trying to build up all of this that I had no idea any of this was happening. And I can imagine how Kendrick has hurt a lot of people by accident because he's just never there chasing the dreams and doing all of this shit and whatnot. And then in verse 2, we kind of see how cold and insensitive and jaded he's become, you know, and he's almost fighting for like the sake of it, and he's lost his soul, and the world is full of lies, and he knows that he wants it to, he knows that like in a perfect world he wouldn't have these sins, he wouldn't have this arrogance, he'd be this great person. But then he also kind of points out that pride, ironically, is going to be the same. Is going to be the downfall of man, and it's their pride that is making them attack him in the way that they are, which is ironic because it's going to be what fucks everyone up. Anyway, this song's fucking great, man.
Right.
I liked it. Everything but the mixing in his voice, which it's like it doesn't stay the same. It's like a pitch modulator is going up and down, and he's just. It's weird. It's not bad. It's just it's cool because no one's done it before, and now everyone will. But 4 on 5.
I gave it a 4 as well. I really enjoyed it. I like how Steve Lacy comes in with him and
Yeah,
just
that was
like
cool.
it was pretty cool. It was a nice smooth approach and it got the jazz in me. Like honestly, like he has a lot of. I'm happy.
I just want to shout out Anna Wise as well.
Yeah, Anna
She
Wise was
dope.
in there as well. She was dope as well. I was gonna say that.
Oh, sorry. Shouting them out together. Dopeness.
But yeah, no, it was such a cool flow, and I actually appreciated. I was a little bit scared seeing the album cover, that it was gonna be a full gangsta
Nah,
rap
it's nothing
album.
like that.
No, but it's a lot more intricate, and I enjoyed the fact that it was actually humble. It was actually a cool way. I'm sorry, it was actually
I
humble.
don't disagree with you. He has a lot of humility in his pride because it's touching on what I was saying earlier, the difference between confidence and arrogance.
Yeah, no, and that's why I tried to specify, because it's not, he's being modest in a way, like he's not trying to rub it in your face, but he's trying to make you understand, like,
Right.
forget what I am, listen to what I have to say.
And
It was just like
I think it's also just like everyone has a lot of pride and nobody's humble, and I think it's gonna obviously play into the next song as to why this song even exists.
What did you think about it?
I actually took a lot from it. Not a lot, but I like how he does play on the humble fact of pride. I like how he presents himself like he kind of has to do this. Not like
Kind of has to do this.
like he kind of has to be in this mode of pride.
I feel like
in
he
this-
kind of has to. I feel like people are hurt by him and they perceive it to be like pride when he
Right,
presents
but
stuff.
I feel like he has to
and
do
maybe
this,
he
and he's
has to
kind of
do-
trying to just tell people like I don't have a choice. I
what's
have
the
too much
vis-
pride in myself.
But what's
to
the
change
this that he has to do?
He has to keep
His
on
persona,
pushing.
I'm
the
asking
way
Chris
he-
though,
the
'cause
way
this is
he-
Chris's
the way
idea,
he-
right?
The way he goes about his life, the way he is, the way he acts, the realness behind him. He has to be that way because he's got so much pride within himself that he's like, dude, I can't let go of my realness.
See, I
And
don't
that's how
think
I feel.
That's the pride part of it, right? I think the part that you're right is that he has to do this certain thing, but people are perceiving it as
Right.
pride.
And I think
Right.
that the way that Chris was saying it is that he's not going to let people throw sticks into his wheels. He's just going to keep on doing him without without
I don't agree, 'cause
corrupting
the
like
second
himself.
verse is that he's corrupted and he's now so jaded he doesn't even know what he's fighting for.
Ah,
That's the whole
I
second
must
verse.
have missed that
Right?
part.
And so if you look at it, like,
apologize.
his song is, again, it's fitting in the theme. He's a broken man, and just think about everything else. He's questioning the loyalty. His peers are so full of pride, they can't see what he's trying to accomplish. They accuse him. He's breaking commitments because life is forcing him, as Chris said, and blah, blah. Anyway, it's fucking really dope.
But I gave it a 5 on 5.
Anyway, let's move on to the only single off of this fucking album. The only song people heard before.
Every single time I've heard the song since it's been out, my colleagues has been talking about it. My brother was talking about it.
I'm talking about
The
it.
Stream Killer was talking about it. Everybody
Bitch, be
was talking.
humble.
But fuck, like, I hated the song. Honestly, like every
love it.
single time I heard
It's
it, it was
layered.
just like fuck. It's annoying. I don't like
It's
the way he
layered.
flipped it.
Fucking
However,
onion.
I did say I knew there was a video. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to video music. I'm gonna find just.
Yeah.
So I painted my nails. lit a cigarette, fucking started watching the fucking thing. It was actually glorious.
It
Like
is
it
a
was amazing. The way
crazy
that it was
video.
done, like once I saw the video, I understood like the hop of it, and then I was reading the lyrics as it go, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Like you just gotta watch the video.
yeah.
Like
Definitely.
just go watch it. Like fucking
Definitely
pause
watch
this,
the video.
watch it, come back, because I can't describe it to give it justice. I can talk about the song though. Now lyrically, it is what it is. It's fucking Kendrick in boss mode now. This is the angriest he's really been in a direct way. Like he's tired of everyone. So the first time I heard the song, I thought it was about Kendrick justifying how he's trying to be humble. Second time I heard the song, I realized that he was taking shots at Drake and other people and telling them to be humble. And
Oh,
the
I
third
didn't know
time,
it was shots at specific people.
well, I assumed it was Drake because of Drake's arrogance in general.
There's also this big Cold War between
Yeah,
Drake and
apparently. You can
Was
check
there?
that out on genius.com. And then the third time I realized it's a bit of both. It's he wants the realness in the world. He wants the world to humble the fuck out and listen to him, because he is almost like the God reincarnate. He has written the realest albums that have come out. He's delivered the best messages that have come out. I mean, I have to agree with him. There's no rapper right now that has delivered a better message than Kendrick Lamar in the last 10 years. And in terms of just the honest content. And he's like, you know what? Everyone's trying to talk about it. And there are people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm the greatest rapper alive type shit.
Right.
A few of them have done it lately. And he's like, you know what? Y'all need to sit down and be humble. But the irony is we all know Kendrick is a fucking really humble guy, as was just presented in the song Pride. And the song Pride is how everyone else is really proud, and he's trying to present it in this humble tone. And now he's like shed the fucking trains at this point. He's in rage mode. Like I said, at Loyalty, the album kind of starts to flip a bit. And now it's more of an attack on everybody.
No, simply saying, like, be humble, man. Sit down. Like,
Because
just,
you are in the presence of, and he compares his shit to a TED Talk. He's talking about how he wants some real shit, down to some ass with some stretch marks, and you see in the video the girl walks over, and like, he's basically saying, I'm tired of the fake standards, I'm tired of it all. And the beats, Mike Will made it shit, so it's okay. It's possibly my least favorite beat on the album.
I gave it a 4. It was just like, it's still a little bit annoying. I know that with time, it's going to give me a little bit more boost, and I'm going to want to listen to it a lot more. But for now, it's a 4. I'm
a
probably going
5
to be
for me.
humping it later
Straight
on.
5.
It's a
Straight
5
five for you?
a lot of
There's
his
nothing to say
delivery
about it.
is
Like, you watch the
excellent.
video, you listen to the song, the entire song's
hold
a
up,
bunch of
bitch.
fucking
Hold up,
metaphors,
hold up.
and it's bouncy, it's jumpy, it's insane. He's
And
full rage mode, and
it's just that he does it inside. He sounds almost like humble doing it.
right.
He did. I agree with that.
And it's his delivery, and it's the total flip on how he was sounded. So like from Pride to Humble, you see a lot change, and I really respect his placement on the album as the turning point. It's the halfway point, really, is between those two songs. So it's really cool. 5. I don't have a lot to add to this because fuck it, it's been out for a bit, and I'm sure a million people on the internet have already reviewed it.
yeah,
And
it's
you?
pretty.
Nothing else?
5.
It's lost his list.
Wake up in the morning, think about money, kick your feet up. Watch you a comedy, take a shit, then roll some weed up. Go hit you a lick, go fuck on a bitch, don't go to work today. Cop you a fit or maybe some kicks and make it.
This song is the perfect follow-up to Humble on this album because it continues in lieu. Since Loyalty, we've been talking about the same group of people that he's targeting, the fake fucks of the world. And now we're talking even more specifically about the rapper lifestyle that gets portrayed. And so he criticizes how like cut, copy, and repeat the lifestyle and how it's all driven by immediate gratification and like lust. And he kind of sees what them all doing and is like, y'all really should be humble. And this song is a bit weird with some strange mixing. It's kind of hard to fuck with at first, but then we get into the verses and he almost like restarts the verse like 5 times, just kind of going into like,
Okay, I didn't just imagine that. It really
no, but
went
it's on
like, okay.
purpose because every time is distinct, right? But it's almost like every day you wake up, you roll your joint, you fuck your bitch, you do this, you do that. Kind of like how Chris has, I mean, I've heard you describe this regular rapper life like this in other reviews we've done. And he's painting it like that.
Unfortunately, hold on, I just want to add to that. Unfortunately, whether or not the modern day rappers or rappers in general live this particular lifestyle, unfortunately, it's what we think and it's what we kind of see because all you guys really show in your videos and portraying your stuff.
Live this
Like,
side
Right,
of the
like,
lifestyle. This is
right.
the part where they are waking up and fucking girls and getting high all the time
Right.
and just kind of living this cut copy piece. Fuck it, I don't have to go to work today. I can play video games. The girl at the end of the verse presses her weave, goes out there, does another little scam on the side and shit. And then we go to the chorus, and I didn't talk about the chorus right away because it all just makes it sound lame in the chorus, right? Like, this guy is all faded and he's trying to get the girl, and he's like, can I just put the tip in, please? Just let me put the tip in. Like,
And then she says yes. All
but,
right.
like, okay, I think it's okay, but still, like, that's some shit that you say when you're not really winning. You haven't been begging for sex, like, you're
That's
not Mac Daddy
interesting,
shit.
I
like,
took that in a different way.
it's
I
so
took
How
it
could you
like
have taken that
it's
in
so
a
lame.
different
because in a way I took so lust is also like a desire, right? Like
lust
when you
is specifically a desire.
right. So when you lust something or you lust somebody, you desire that. And for
But
me,
it's
I
a
was like,
negative kind of desire.
Yeah,
right,
you don't
right,
say-
right. But I took it in a way where I was like, people are lusting the image of fame, the image of what
Yes.
these rappers show, right?
Yes.
And I like how he took this whole desire and changed it. I like fuck.
He didn't change it. We're saying the same thing. He made it look fucking
I
lame.
know, I completely.
So-
Yeah, but that's the thing is like when you say a sentence, no matter in which situation, the words just the tip. I know it was just the head.
No,
But
that's
the
where it
words
was.
just the tip just got like, you know, your sexy thing where it creeps you up. Yeah, that just
Wait.
like
Oh, but that's
Hold
it.
on. That's where. Okay, I apologize for the whole,
Anyway,
fuck
go.
up. But when he goes, let me just put the tip in,
Head.
right?
Head.
That or whatever. I got it sexually. I got that. But I also kind of looked at it as like somebody asking to dip their hand in fame,
Nah,
dip
man.
their hand
Oh,
in gold,
maybe.
dip their hand in like something they
Okay.
don't have.
You know what? You might be right, but I think it was at the same time showing how lame it is because it's a lame tactic guys use when they're Hail Marrying it, right? Like when a guy's literally going, please let me just stick the head in, it means she said no 100 times and you're still trying to get your head in. And then in the second verse, it drives home why. Because it shows the whole first life, like, yeah, fucking that thought, and all that shit, right? And then you go to the second verse where it shows the consequences of it. You're late for your meeting, even though you said you weren't going to be, and you lost your chain last night, and that's $10,000 gone, and this, that, the next thing. And he just continues to, like, fucking show how lame they all are, and then as in some Bible verses kind of showing how this is a shitty way to live life. And I wrote down here, and this song basically makes fun of all the rappers Chris likes. And I agree with that statement too. He does. Make fun
I
of them.
agree with that
This
statement.
shit is a 5 on 5.
Straight
it is
5
a
on
beautiful
5.
piece of art to me.
I gave it a 4.
And why did it lose points? Was it just missing a little something that kept it from being great?
The whole album to me was like literally it was just draggy. Like I was
Okay.
I was literally asking myself like, wait a minute, am I just being harsh or just do I really like this? And re-listening to it and actually listening to it and just realizing, no, this bothers me. There's something like, I don't know if it's the way that he mixes his voice into the background, if it's the background that just simply didn't fit into it. But like,
You know what? We're going to link something else. I saw this funny video from Crank Lucas, a DJ guy, talking about why he would never engineer for Kendrick Lamar. And it's fucking crazy choices all over that makes it weird to listen to. I agree. It's not just you. This is a weird experience. It took me a long time to even like the idea of non-authentic vocals. And I've kind of really come to get into this engineering side of stuff, but it's a bit of an acquired taste. I'll give it to you. It's not
bad, but for me that visualize like flawless dance moves while I listen to music, I'm sorry, like I know I'm weird.
No, it's fine. A lot of people do.
I click, like I can't visualize a flow, so like at that point I'm sorry, that's where it lost the point. Like it's just
No, it's okay.
musically.
So the thing about lust is it's a desire that's kind of based off of an instant, well not thought out thing, whereas a more long-term desire could be known as love.
Knowing some shit, feeling like Tyson with it. Knock it out twice, I'm with it. Only for the night, I'm kidding. Only for life, yeah, only for life.
Before we get into this, I like the song. I love everything about it. I gave it a 5 on 5. I don't understand it, but the producing, the voice,
ZACARI
the
produced
vocals,
it. From what I understand, it was like a ZACARI song, and then Kendrick came in and plugged in the rest of it.
it is just beautiful. But Holden's got a lot to say about this. So
I don't have
It was a cool ballad. I
don't
enjoyed
have
it.
a lot to say. I think I understand why it's on this album.
all right.
Because now it's all different. all of a sudden we've gone through. So look, you go from the loyalty thing, and it leads it into the pride versus humility debates, and then he's talking about how everyone else is going on about lust, and then he says some shit like, starts off with damn lover lust, damn all of us, and it's an interesting thing, right? Because it presents the choice, right? You have a choice between it, just like you have the choice between pride and humble, and you have the choice between lust and love, right?
And he paraphrases it at the best beginning of the album on the first song, like damned if I do, damned if I don't. Like it's always been a choice from the beginning.
There's
wickedness or like weakness. There's a lot of choices.
There's a lot of dichotomies, we can call them.
And there's gonna be a lot more on that.
So why I think this is on the album is because Kendrick's been with his girlfriend since high school, pretty faithful and shit. Yeah, and I just think he wrote her a love song, and I think here's why. Right? I don't have like a whole bunch to say. The chorus kind of took from 21 Questions by 50 Cent with let me ask you 21 questions, and and then same kind of idea from that. And I think it's because like this, I have been going through a hell of a lot. I work over 80 hours a week lately, almost all the time. I don't get days off, and it's all because like Kendrick, I have to worry about my family, my community, where I come from, there's people, so I don't have that luxury of stopping like a lot of people do. And the only reason I can get through this shit is because I have a woman that I love who's holding me down, right? And she puts up with all my crazy shits, and in like light of it all, it's that love, that my like relationship with her that keeps me grounded and lets me handle the entirety of the fakeness. And all of a sudden we get this real emotion in the middle, and it's like Kendrick through this here. I don't think it's to have hope or anything. I think it's part of his story, part of where he's at. Like, we've just gone through all of the fake shit, and now we're going to get into another album tone shift, into some more real shit that we're going to encounter on this album. And what's more real? What's more like the opposite of fake than true love? And so it changes again into a really fucking cool tone. And we're going to see that this tone is shifted for the rest of the album. And the subject matter, about who it's being written about, it's fucking a beautiful song. It's really nice and sweet. And if you like romantic-y love songs, like real love songs, like She's Mine Part 2 by J. Cole love songs, like this is the type of shit for you. Only he makes J. Cole look like a chump, and he wrote a really proper song here. 5 on 5, because it's just so fucking beautiful.
I gave it a 4. It was pretty good. There's still missing things, but it was a pretty good song. I just didn't enjoy the ooey goodness. I guess I don't like love songs. Don't write me love songs. I guess they creep me out. They really do.
Here,
they just like, why would you know?
Horror story.
Okay,
and
so Chris like basically shut himself up at the beginning. Now do you get the song a bit more? Does it make sense to you?
I totally get it. I totally understand. I mean, that's kind of what I got at the beginning. I was like, so he wrote his girlfriend a love song.
Okay, and then.
But I honestly thought there may have been like a deeper meaning.
But there is. It has to do with the fact that the only reason he's able to accomplish what's about to happen, that we're going to get presented later on the album.
Right.
Like, his accomplishments come because he had love, right? And that's the deeper meaning. It's not like there's a super deep meaning and like layered shit, but this is an emotion. Every song on this album is an emotion so far. And this is a different type of emotion that plays into the story. And I'll get to why I think it's important a little bit at the end. But it plays into what I think is going to happen. Word. So the next song is called Triple X, and thankfully isn't so obvious and has less to do with sex.
Yesterday I got a call like from my dog like 101. Said they killed his only son because of insufficient funds. He was sobbing, he was mobbing, way belligerent and drunk, talking out his head, philosophy. No.
You guys think I have a lot to say again? Because I have a lot to say on every song here except for one. Weirdly enough, not Humble. I didn't have a lot to say on Humble.
It's different. It's a different sound. It's a different meaning. But I like how he didn't relate it to sex. I like how he took this.
Okay, because let's be real. With the way the songs have been titled and the direction things have been going, it's the obvious move. And I think he did it on purpose, and it's brilliant.
Right.
And there is another meaning of Triple X that I do think is conveyed in this song.
Right, and it's the X-rated life.
No. Poison. Triple X used to be poison.
Right.
Chemical peel, yeah.
I know, like, just back in the old Western days, when even in the Looney Tunes, the XXX on the alcohol bottle and shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
go on.
Anyway, so this song deals with hypocrisy, is how I took it. It's kind of like the Blacker the Berry from Pimp a Butterfly. And so, like, the first verse presents some more fucked up shit in the hood, right? But it's focusing a lot on the feelings of revenge and shit, a bit more of like that good kid feeling.
Poisonous feeling.
Yeah, so he identifies that the reality, and yeah, so poison, right? Because it's revenge.
Right.
Again, that leads a lot of his shit. And on the Body Count album that I reviewed, it covers a lot in revenge and how it leads to hood violence, and he goes into it here, like, so in the middle of this story, he's telling his buddy, his son gets killed, right? And Kendrick's like on the phone being like, yo, you know, you're going to have to get that motherfucker. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to go out there and clip him and shit, blah, blah, blah. But then he goes, to quote him, you should chip up and then throw the blower in his lap. Matter of fact, I'm about to speak at this convention, call you back. And then the next thing you hear is Kendrick Lamar getting up to go speak at a anti-gun convention right after advocating that this motherfucker should go shoot the next guy and throw the gun in his lap. And this hypocrisy of understanding, like, this hood life. This is a song where it's like, got my sister, got my brother coming. I mean, she's listing, like, look, say what you will, but it's one thing to, like, have this whatever, but you come at my family, you come at this shit, and it creates this jealousy and this poison. And then, like, Bono appears and sings, and I've never heard him so auto-tuned in a hip-hop way before.
Right.
And it sounded good. That's what I wanted to say about Bono. Next verse, just quickly, is criticizing how fake and dishonest America really is. He brings in a bit of Trump and shows that there's a real poison in the society. More Bono, and then the song's kind of done.
I agree to the poison part in regards to the hatred that's simmering right now in society, in every platform, on social media, in real life, in schools, in public places, throughout genders, throughout religions. There is a lot going on in society, and I agree to that side of it. However, the fact that you chose to go with a background that is as annoying as the "fuck the police" one from was it that one, like NWA?
He had so many different fucking samples and sounds in this. I'm not exactly sure which one, but at one point, no, but it's not that. No, it wasn't that. He did put police sirens in, but it fit exactly what was being talked about in the song in an artistic way, where if I were to add samples in, I would have done something similar.
And you would have lost me as a listener, because that shit is annoying. No, it's like, no, I'm sorry, this fucked me over just because of that sound. I can't listen to a song with such high pitches. That is not meant to have such high pitches.
It was totally meant to have it, because these sirens are a part of the reality of these people. Like, this is their world. This is like,
I could take one, not 4 in a row. I'm sorry.
But it fit just like the little. I don't remember what was being said, but what he was rapping at that point, it fit like perfectly there, and it added an element.
It derailed me completely.
That's fine.
Would you give it
a 2?
Oh my goodness.
It derailed me.
So people completely. On the internet understand that Daemon didn't hate the song; she hated the sirens and gave it a 2.
I couldn't even concentrate on the
nice.
words. I'm sorry, I couldn't concentrate on the words. I'm sure I'm gonna listen to it again, and it's gonna simmer in back to a 3 or a 4. But
it's a song of how revenge and the culture is poison.
I understand that. I understand that part,
Chris,
but it's just.
I gave it a 5.
Oh.
I like everything about it.
I gave it a 4.
Dude, to be real, I gave like only 1 4 on this entire album. I'm gonna say it, but I'm gonna state it already. But this song,
I don't think it's all that perfect, but I get it, Chris.
It was so... Guy, I don't know how I get these meetings, but I took this entire song of, like, X's as people dying, and strictly just one person gone, next person gone, third person gone, and then it's over.
You didn't know that triple X meant poison. So when you look
I may have known that, I just didn't go through that, but I got that, and it's like...
Yeah, people
eventually
are dying.
He was just done, and he was, like, trying to change all these deaths and change what's going on.
I don't actually see that at all. It's a lot about hypocrisy in terms of like the whole. Okay, I mean, like verse 1, presenting the context of the streets. He's gonna show up and telling his buddy to go shoot a motherfucker. Goes to a gun rally. Verse 2, there's a lot of poison in the hypocrisy of America. The song's about hypocrisy. I don't even. I mean, deaths are kind of specific anecdotes to a bigger theme of hypocrisy.
Right.
I digress. Fucking great song. But to be real, you know what also is a great song?
What?
Fear.
You say that game is broken, I beat your ass if you jump on my couch. I beat your ass if you walk in this house with tears in your eyes, running from poo-poo and prentice. Go back outside, I beat your ass.
So this is a really intense song.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear instilled in this song. But is this about an abusive father?
No.
It's about
Okay.
an abusive mother.
No.
That's
You're
what I
both-
got.
Whoa.
It's not. It's no. It's not abusive. So
Well,
I
a
can
strict house,
strict, yes.
welfare. They used to live in
I
like
can
section.
explain kind of what that part is about, but that's not the song. There's one verse of 4. So the song starts off first of all with Cousin Carl. That's important to bring in.
That was
This is the
talked
same
to.
Carl Duckworth that's mentioned earlier, and again he's relevant. So he's kind of talking about how Kendrick, I know how you've been feeling of late, right? I know how you've been feeling in this crazy poisonous world that we just heard about, you know, and how nobody's praying for you and shit. And then he starts to kind of tell him about Deuteronomy and this verse about how you're supposed to feel like this. This is exactly what's going to happen when you're living the life you're on. Everything's kind of normal. And then he wants to manifest how a lot of these feelings that he's been feeling are fear. And this is where he talks about how at age 7, this is what he was afraid of. Getting his ass whooped by his mom for any of these things. It's not that his mom would whoop his ass per se. It's just if you look at any comedy that shows hood mothers, it's
Well,
will
when I
whip
was a
your
kid, it
ass.
was pretty much that. It's like, come home, make sure dishes are
Or
done.
I'm gonna
Otherwise,
whip
I'm
your
going to
ass.
whip your ass.
Exactly. And when you're 7, he's telling it with this authoritarian parent tone because it's the perspective of a 7-year-old being terrified of his parents whipping his ass.
That makes more sense.
And he's selling it like that. And then the chorus is strange because this is like Kendrick is basically saying, look, if the weed will get me high and I can escape the fear, then give it to me. I don't know what to do with that, but that's what I got from the chorus, right?
That's exactly what I got as well, and it was weird because
So-
it just didn't tie in for me. It just
It
like,
did.
why?
Because he's changing and he doesn't know how to handle it anymore. He's so desperate, he's almost willing to consider smoking weed again at this point because he doesn't know how. So then second verse, he's 17, and it's Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick all over again, and all the ways he's afraid of dying, which is really explored on that album and summarized here. Then verse 3 is weird. It's more of a stream of consciousness into like, you know, where he's at now and how his fear is amplified. And then we find out in the 4th verse now is that his fear is loss. So it's manifested from getting his ass kicked to being afraid of dying to being afraid of losing everything, disappointing and not being able to live up to this Kendrick Lamar image that he's become, to which it then fades into, again, Uncle Carl, or Cousin Carl, I should say, talking about how everyone's Israelites and everyone's the same in the eyes of God, to sum up quickly what that was. And I thought this was one of the most artistically brilliant tracks on the album, the way he brought us through his life like this, the way he talked about something I get, because the truth is, our generation, and Kendrick and I are the exact same age, so, you know, like, our generation is layered with this kind of fear. All it's been is fear, and I appreciated how he laid it out, and I'm so terrified of losing what I've built and not being able to deliver on what I promised that I get it so deeply. Fucking 5 on 5. I love this song.
It got me too close to home. To me, it got me. It just didn't want me to. It
Did what it's supposed to then, Damon.
yeah. It fucked with my mind. It's just like, yeah, no, I wouldn't listen to this. I enjoyed and I appreciate what you tried to do, but it got
Accomplished at doing.
way too close to home.
So that's what he tried to do. He wanted you to feel like that.
I might listen to it again because I listened to it while you were playing, and it was actually, I wanted to listen more, so slowly, but for the moment, I gave it a strict neutral. I just, a chrome.
Intense.
I gave it a chromite. I give it a 3.
It is. You can
It's just
hear
too
the
intense.
fear as it evolves in his life. Every verse sells the fear of the age he's trying to sell.
I get it.
perfectly.
I was through that fear. I got that
So
totally.
beautiful.
Like, it's just.
And Chris,
This song makes me want to be a better person.
that's cool. How come? I wasn't expecting you to come up with that from this.
I gave it a 5 on 5. And it's not because I listen to it every day, but
But how
just
does
like
it make you want to be a better person?
because just like the intro, this is a song that if I were having a really shit day at work or a really shit mood or something, I would listen to this. And I guess the way Kendrick presented his story in this song and the real fears that happen, it kind of just makes you want to not give up on what you believe in and not give up on what you strive to do. And these are real fears that people have and real fears that I
You know,
have on a
if you
fucking
wanted to say
daily.
here that I related to this song because it was very relatable, I couldn't argue with that in a minute.
I related to this song because it was very relatable.
Yeah, agreed. Kendrick Lamar did exactly that, and it was so relatable. Damon didn't like it, so I think he accomplished his goal. It's fucking great.
I'm sorry, my brain is so
Don't worry about
fucked.
it. I don't want to rush this, but I do want to move on to the
God.
Yeah, that.
I'm at large running plays like a circuit JT. I'm selling versus JT. Watch me work at JT. Love.
Kendrick's an arrogant motherfucker a little bit. I just gotta put it out, and we'll get to that shortly. But this,
Okay.
it isn't exactly what you think it is.
It was a success song.
But
That's what it was. But it wasn't put
was
like he
more than
stays.
that.
He stays like we said. He stays like humble. He stays modest in the way he puts it. But he's still like, yo, this is what I did. This is my success. Which you can't take that from me. You can't.
I
like,
think it's a little different, just a little, cause right. I think so I grew up super welfare poor, not like ghetto black hood welfare poor.
Okay, he was in the welfare housing.
Right.
Like,
I'm not saying I'm that poor. I grew up in Canada. I never could have been that poor. But I grew
It's
up
not
as
legal.
close to that poor as a young white boy with parents who fed him, but no Nintendo. Like, I didn't have opportunity. So where I'm going with this is the idea to travel and to actually go out of my world. It seemed impossible. In the same way that for Kendrick, it would have seemed impossible to actually achieve anything. And then one day I went to Pakistan. I don't know how the fuck this happened. Nobody in my family's really done anything like this. And it was just inconceivable beyond it. And relative to my family, it's like they treat me almost with this godlike stature. Not as much now, but for a while. Because look at this guy. He's a rapper and he's doing everything he wants to do. He just goes and he does it. And it's like I'm achieving. And I feel like Kendrick has that going on. Because he presents like, look, I wasn't even like supposed to really come out of here, right? How he remembers how he's so far past his expectations, right? He's not just saying like I'm getting sold versus Jay-Z shit to floss. He's saying it because he could never actually believe this was something. And then he doesn't want you to judge him, right? Because he knows how all of this looks, what he's about to say. He knows that when he makes a comparison to knowing how God feels like, that you're going to judge him. Because it sounds a certain way. But he's like, please don't. Just understand that when I consider now that I can have everything and I can do anything, like, and then in the next verse he drives it home where he talks about how, look, I could buy you with money, I could buy you with this, and he can literally get away with doing anything he wants. Coming from this dude in the bottom of the hood that never had anything and used to fuck the hood rats and shit, he feels like God. It's not meant to be arrogant. It's meant to express how fucking overwhelming his entire existence is.
To be fair, that's why I like this song, because he's humble about it. Most of these rappers are like, I'm God, fuck y'all, I'll kill you, I'll do this, I'll do what I want, but they're being arrogant, fucking straight up pricks about it. He's just like, look, I worked, I put in the effort to make it here.
Now
so
I feel
I
this
can
way.
understand. I agree with you on why
And
he thinks that.
you can't take it away. Like, it's just, this is how I feel.
It's
Accept
like it's
it.
part of the
That's it.
presentation.
But it goes a little bit further because he recognizes that with this comes the pride and the ego and a lot of the things he's discussed on this album. Like this, we're almost at the end. We're at the end of what I'm going to call the album. There's another song, but it's different. It's a song that we'll get to when we talk about it. But like this is the end of, let's say, everything we've heard is Kendrick's state of mind as it is today, as a 29-year-old man with all of his accomplishments, trying to do the right thing in this chaotic world. And it's an emotional psychoanalysis of Kendrick Lamar justifying his position, ultimately leading up to he has achieved a godlike status, coming from being a black man with his DNA and blood and almost dying he dies at the beginning of the album, all the way to this point where he's basically achieved godness. And it's fucking bold the way it builds up to this, and he did it alone. He did it being humble. He did it in all these things he's described, and I think it is a 5. Like, it's a really well-made song. It's a really good feel, and once you can get past the arrogant nature of how it's framed, it's fucking dope.
I didn't deal it a 4 because of the arrogant nature, because I didn't get any arrogance through it, because it wasn't arrogant to me. The way he put it was exactly as if, like, you know what? Yeah, I got this. Like, don't hate on me. Let me fucking feel my happiness. Let me feel my pride. Let me success on this for a bit. And it was fine, like, but I don't know what fucked me up on this. I can't remember. I didn't note it down for some reason that I can't remember. But it was long for me at some point. I wrote down long. It was like, it got to a point where I'm just like, ugh, it's a 4-minute track. I have trouble with long songs. I guess maybe Fear sort of got that because
before it was 7:41.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, did you have anything more to say on this?
No,
What'd you give it?
I gave it a 5 on 5.
Awesome. So
Yes,
there's
sir.
one track left on this fucking experience, and this experience has been quite something. And this song is called none other than
Duckworth.
And he posted in line, 2 extra biscuits. Anthony liked them and then let him slide. They didn't kill him. In fact, it looked like they're the last to survive. Pay attention, that one decision changed both of their lives. One curse at a time.
Duckworth is fucking nifty because all of a sudden we're going meta on this fucking album, which is crazy.
Meta.
Yeah, like we're taking a step above the album and going into a concept that's above the current concept. So it's like if you were in the menu and this entire album was like World 1 and now you're going in to have the option to go to World 2.
Okay.
So it presents the context of this thug-like guy, and it tells this very, very, very specific story of basically Top Dog is Anthony. That's his producer, the guy who signed him to his label and everything. And it talks about Duckworth or Ducky, Carl Duckworth, the guy who left in the voicemail, and how way back in the day there was this incident at a KFC where basically Top Dog went in to rob it and Ducky was there, and because Ducky understood how to play the game, gave them free chickens and shit, he was completely safe and cool. And as a result of that, this was the most significant moment for Kendrick Lamar's life because it would ultimately lead to Kendrick Lamar getting signed, the greatest rapper alive, and almost like the entire album we've just heard is a result of this moment, this story that he told. And then where it gets really fucking interesting is at the end of this, he goes, whoever thought the greatest rapper would be from coincidence, because if Anthony killed Ducky, Top Dog could be serving life while I grew up without a father and die in a gunfight. Pop! Right? Kendrick dies. And we hear the rewinding sounds, and it goes all the way back, right? You hear the DNA, so you hear like the whatever, and then you hear the first sentence of when he had that thing when he went to go talk to the woman.
Right.
It was a total loop. It was a
And
total like dream. It
so
was
this, okay, I want to...
a memory.
So it kind of ties into a theory that is floating around, and it's the time to talk about it because it's part of this song.
Well, there's also
Can I-
the fact
can
like
I-
you see your life going floating in front of you as the moment you die. So, as the first pop, you see your whole life
Yeah.
floating in front of you.
That was
Okay.
it.
Oh,
So I
sorry.
give
That
this,
was it,
I
no.
give this a 4 on 5 because it was a little bit of not the greatest song on the album, but it was still pretty solid. But
I gave it a 2. I'm
give it a
sorry.
5.
I couldn't hear it. I couldn't listen to
Alright.
it. It's like ah.
so I want to do like 2 things. Let's just drop our fucking album reviews now before we jump on some conspiracy about what Duckworth means in the grand scheme of things,
So I gave this album a 4.9 on 5.
which is apparently believable because he only gave 1 4. And that's high. And you, Damon?
I gave it a 3.69. I'm
I
sorry,
gave
it's the two
this,
twos.
a 4.56. It's pretty high. It's not as good as Good Kid, Mad City from the rating perspective, but let's take a fucking step back here. So,
All right.
so Duckworth goes right back to the beginning, but if you think about this whole thing from the context of like, he's God, and he's now presented almost a butterfly effect situation where he goes, but what if it didn't really happen like this, and rewinds back up to the very beginning of the thing to kind of like parallel that there's another side to this story, right? Now, there's a few little conspiracies with no proof. I mean, we're 10:26 p.m.
Rumors.
on Saturday night, so we'll probably find out in like 12 hours if we were right or not. Fucking too late. But basically, if you look at this album cover, first of all, I wanted to talk about his eyes. Everyone here has been laughing at me all.
No,
There's a
no,
whole lot to
dude,
think about,
dude, I just
guys.
want to admit, I walked in here, Holden went, did you realize? And I went, and he goes, his eyes. And I went, and then 5 minutes? Go. Just
Okay,
go.
So the short version is, if you look at his eyes on this fucking album, really, of Damn, you see this straight up like, I don't fuck with me, I'm tired of your shit look. Like it's cold. It's this Kendrick that we've just been listening to. It is knowing the context of his psyche now, those eyes make a whole lot of sense. But it comes from a point of where he's God. Now, what if, and we know that Kendrick likes the Matrix because
He's clearly stated it a bunch of times.
and he took the red pill on this album.
Yep,
And,
the red wall.
And what if there's a Blue album coming? Because if you look at his Spotify fucking picture,
The
got this-
entire
it's
background
all blue,
is different.
and his eyes are kind of all groupy, and it looks a little broken. It's a very different Kendrick Lamar standing there compared against the one from Damn. And I saw some like ideas that if you think about it, if this album was called Damn, and then on the other side was called Nation. Dun, dun,
No, you have exactly.
Damnation.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at like I realized like the album as I was going through as we were at Lust, I was like, wait a minute, those are sins that he's talking about. So he's talking about how damned he is. If he goes towards the nation, it's probably going to be talk of like hope about like how you shouldn't be greedy, how you shouldn't go through like
So it'd be
vanity,
like-
how you shouldn't
So
like.
I guess I could picture what this album could be is Kendrick, who's not famous, talking about it, all of this from the bottom. Anyway, I'm super excited to find out if he does it. One more parallel. If Kendrick drops a fucking second album tomorrow, this motherfucker was arrogant enough to put out his first album on Good Friday, wait 3 days, and resurrect another fucking album. What a fucking guy. Anyway, this has been fucking a long-ass headspace because Kendrick does that to you.
Guys, our headspace is full, so we're gonna talk about possibly at the Classic Quest.
Yeah,
You guys
we're gonna
possibly.
figure some shit out. If the next Kendrick album comes out, it's likely not gonna be on the next Headspace because I'm not here next week. It's gonna be without me. I have to go perform and do some other life obligations. I do rap, so it is my number one.
You can check that out on his
And,
channel, guys.
Also, then Damon's away for a little bit after a couple weeks. So we have some time off coming with some guests coming in, and
I'm gonna be here the entire time.
Chris, fatal to the cause.
Chris is a good man.
Faithful.
So I want to talk with Kendrick, so we might drop it onto the Classic Quest if he does follow out, because I'd call this a classic, and I'm willing to bet if there's a follow-up that collectively it's the best marketing scam I've ever
Here's
fucking
hoping.
seen.
Here's hoping
Anyway.
it's gonna be a good one.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for chilling.
And for once, Chris had his knowledge on, so there's not a huge need to say it in the comments,
Hey.
but feel free to tell him
Hey.
anyway.
I
feel free to
said it.
tell him
Y'all
anyway.
let me know. I do it.
Did anybody try to guess your
No.
your
Nope.
soda stream?
Nope.
No.
Nobody wants to win Chris's money.